and welcome Patreons to the garage build. Keep you guys and girls in the loop. I am working on the concrete slab, so we're all laser leveled up. These guys that have come in and done it, I can tell they really know what they're doing, because they spent a lot of time with the theodolites, I think that's what you call it, laser level, getting the level of the garage floor to match my existing garage floor height. So they used a system of copying that height across to the proposed slab height. So we've got a slab here which is 28 meters squared, alright, and 27.6 I think it was. Anyway, this is going to be 6 inches thick, so quite substantial. It's going to have underfloor heating, and my job today is the builders leave me for today to set this up, which is to lay down and calculate the pipes for the underfloor heating. So it's good to just get not much more than a 100-meter run when you're doing an underfloor heating zone, simply for the pressure and the force required, or the resistance on the actual pump itself that pumps the water through the tubes to get a decent flow. So I'm going for 90 meters, give me a little bit of leeway. Now the thermal properties on this slab require a 110-meter run, maybe a little bit more, but because it's not domestic, I'm going to just, and the pipe comes on 100-meter rolls, I just thought, well, 90 is going to do it. It's going to give me 18 runs up and down on the serpentine pattern. So that's a snake serpentine type pattern with the poly pipe. It's called lay flat tube, made by John Guest. So you basically bend it to shape and zip tie it to the rebar. We've got a nice level compacted down floor. It's all been rolled down. It's very solid. There'll be a big rolling machine came in and did it, and then what we do, we put visqueen polythene film down first. That's like a damp proof membrane, and then on top of that you get your king span, which is insulation. I think that's 25mm, and then we use what they call rebar seats, or rebar pedestals, the sort of little standoff feet which sit on the king span, and the rebar's then suspended up, so the rebar's in the middle of the slab as opposed to just lying flat on the floor. Once that rebar mesh grid's all in there, I come along and I zip tie to it the poly pipe, and then we're going to make 2 exit points in the slab, and then it's going to pick up into the garage here for the underfloor heating manifold, which has already got a tap off ready to go into this extra zone. It was built that way. Also, we need another hole making for the electrical. It's never good to mix electricity and water in the same ducting, so 2 ductings at 40mm is all I'm going to need, and then some bends coming out. Now we're here because the floor level's about there on the garage, so we've got ourselves a core drilling bit. That's a diamond bit, a big hole cutting bit. It's got a clutch system built into the drill so you don't break your arms. You hire that, no point buying one of them, just hire those out. And then I'm just drilling through now. It's my job to prep this, because it saves money if I do this myself. And then they come back tomorrow, the groundwork team, and then they'll lay all the mesh out, and we'll start barrowing in the concrete. It's a substantial base and it'll be very steady. This ground beneath me is really solid. It's got a lot of crusher rundown already from when the property was built. It was excavated out a good 4 or 5 foot on top anyway, but there's plenty there. It's very solid. They've told me it's just not moved, and the steam roller's been on it. It's steam roller, diesel roller. So we're looking good on our Bramble garage build. There's Bramble in the back, cover over there. You may have saw that I was doing some parts harvesting as well on the panels. I've got a great plan in place to fix the front end of Bramble's chassis legs. Doesn't worry me at all, that, so I'm pleased I've come up with a solution for that. So today's job then, drill through there and start laying out my tubing and planning my wires and cables. Okay, so keeping you in the loop for Patreons. Thanks for your support. We're doing well on there, by the way, so I'll be looking forward to this garage build. Let me get drilling on this now, please. Alright, we're through on that one, and I go inside the property and pilot from the inside with the handheld drill, the cordless, and a long drill bit there, long masonry bit set on hammer, so we can just get the right position. It can't come from the outside in, you don't know where you're going to end up inside, so we pilot. And now again with the hole cutter, removing the old brick first, we're going to have to get that out of there. We go through again and leaving just enough distance so the two holes don't crack between each other. So another hole to go through, 40mm. Okay, some more connections going in now for the garage. We've got internet, we've got alarm cable, cameras, and we've got a steel wire armoured cable going in. Now, ideally I wouldn't like these running as close together as they are, but there's not much I can do because I don't want to be chiselling too much out of my wall. So we're running in there, and then we've got our flow and return tubes, which you saw me drilling just earlier. So hot water out, cold water back in, flow and return, going through this ducting. We're trying to keep it flush. Normally I wouldn't like to have any bends in the water flow pipe, but they're the only right angles I'm going to have are going to be here. If I didn't have that, we've got to come right out. We are screened, we are rebarred up, and now it's my job to lay down the heat floor tubing. So a right old funny pattern, you got to go around the outside, then in, then into the middle, then back out again. So we're going to do that now. I just keep going with this pipe. Along I go, and it's I forget the name of the pattern. It's not serpentine, but it's round, in, into the middle, then back out. Okay, so zip tying onto the rebar. Had a few aerial shots there, bit of commentary too. So garage going good. heated floor slab going down. The night shift is on, and I'm laying out my pattern. It's going okay so far. You just got to make sure you take the pipe, the poly pipe, the John Guest pipe off the roll the right way, so you sort of spin the roll as you're unwinding it. Otherwise it tries to flex up, so you want it laying flat. So you can see the space in there, but I'm going to come back on my return journey and infill it. That means that the heat is evenly distributed. If you just did the S, it runs out of heat by the time it gets to the outside. It'll still be warm, but you get warmer spots. This way it's very evenly distributed. Okay, so coming in over there, then it goes round the outside, gets to the middle, and it comes back on itself. You get that way, you get a cold and a warm next to each other, alternating, which means a more even heat spread. We're going for a 100-metre run, which is about around your max run for one zone. I'm only having it one zone, so it's just about right to calculate it out. I don't know, I think there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 runs, 9, and then another 9 to infill. I think that's going to be about right, and that takes us to about 100 metres, give or take. Might end up being 90 metres. Let's have a see. The late shift is on. I'm approaching 10 o'clock at night, but I've got good lighting up here. Oh yeah. So I'm down, I'm in, I've done it all, laid that flat, zip tied it all up. You happy with this garage? It's coming on good. Patreons, little clip for you, just to keep you updated, as always, to keep you updated. So we're all in. We don't go right up to the edge because the walls are there, and often furniture and things. Most of the heat I want right in the middle there. So look at that, how that comes back on itself, and then you infill on your return journey home, then flow and return. And of course you saw the pipes coming out for us to connect, so it's all looking neat and pro. I think you'll find it'll be a great base for the garage. It's going to look really nice, and it's going to be as warm as toast in this garage. So happy with that for tonight's progress. Signing off now. I'll get some dinner. Okay, looking good. Daylight brings new opportunities. Okay, so we are connected up to the flow and return tubes going into the garage now. There is a join, but there was no other way of doing it. We have to hook in. So 2 joins there. We'd like to not have joins, but we'll pressure test it now. I see no reason why a join is not a problem. We'll document whereabouts they are relative to the slab, but I doubt once them joins are concreted in, it isn't a high pressure, it's only a low pressure system, but the joins are as good as anything. But you do try and not have joins if you can. This is a 105-metre run. Okay, if you include the tubes going into the garage, so that's fine. We're within spec. In we go then, past Ruby, rolled out to get to the manifold. I've got a bit of an old boiler manifold, an old cranky boiler I got off a skip. We could really do with replacing this at some point. Gas boiler, combi boiler, just using the hot water outlet. It's not strictly correct way of doing this, but it's always worked for me in this garage. Okay, so it's never given me any problems. Flow and return manifolds just here, underfloor heating manifold. 2 valves that go on the top here, little solenoids fit on top. I say they're not solenoids as such, the heating coils that expand and press down the valve. These I have them just locked in a 3/4 open position for my garage. This, if you was doing this in the house, this is not how we would do it. It would be better than this. This was just a very budget system, but it's always worked. Okay, so there's refinements that can be made to this. It has got a loop stat. If a loop gets too hot, that stat cuts out there. That's my safety measure on it. Okay, you'll see the invasion of the foam through there. We sprayed from the outside and it's bulged its way through. We trimmed that with a blade, and that'll come off dead easy, don't worry about that, but it's best to just make a good seal in the tube. So we put expanding foam in there, trim that. The 2 grey pipes, they're the garage floor that's existing now. This one here, the tiled floor. Then the 2 white tubes coming in, flow and return to that new garage slab that you just saw. So in we go with the return tube. Doesn't really matter which one's flow or return, because it's the pattern that I've done. It'll work either way. So the return one needs to come in with an elbow, connect to that, and then we just open this up. You've got to bleed the system through, so we inject mains pressure in to prime it with water. We get that from the mains pipe just over there. I'm going to fit a tap on it now and a T-piece in to this return pipe, and then we pressurise it up. That's my way of doing it, which has always worked, but as I said and keep stressing, a proper system would be slightly different than this. You'd have a mixing valve and a circulation pump, and it runs its own miniature circulation system, then bleeds off a loop from your central heating normally, and injects the hot water as it needs it with a mixer valve, and then has its own dedicated pump to flow it round. That's when you've got different zones. This is very basic and it was budget, but I could always refine it, okay, but it's going to work. So first thing to do is pressure test. The main thing to do, this doesn't really matter because it could always be changed, but got a concrete slab going down, we want to make sure that the tube that I've laid out is not damaged, punctured, and flows all right. So to do that, we're going to put mains water through it and leave it locked on pressure overnight and see if it holds. It should do, and we'll look for any obvious leaks, and then that's about it till the concrete goes down. I'm plumbed back into the Bramble garage. I'm back into the Cortina City garage, sorry, and I'm just going to bleed the air out of the run that goes through. Can't really do it. Let me put an elbow on the end of here just so I can keep the camera up. Right, this route, when I operate this tap here, it's going to send the pressure right the way through the system down and then back out of here. Then I'll put a blank cap on the end of this pipe and leave the tap on mains pressure. So here we go. I've activated it. We'll get water coming out the end of this shortly, right the way through the heater, underfloor heating network that I just laid out. And do that, and we'll wait for a little sec. We need a blanking cap on the end of the output, sorry. That needed a blanking cap on too. Let's do it again. Hang on, blanking cap not on all the way. Hold on 2 secs, I'll do it. That's better, I hadn't pushed it all the way. Right, carrying on. Takes a while to fill it up. Should feel air, yeah, air's pushing out of that onto my hand as it displaces. Loads of air coming out on there. We'll go outside in a minute and see if we can see any leaks once this is pressured up. Wow, 100 metres worth to fill. That blanking cap's on, but leaking. Hold on a minute. We have a rogue blanking cap. It's a bleed blanking cap. We don't want that one. I don't know what that was been drilled for in the past, but I've been the plumber's stocking up anyway and carrying a one without a hole drilled in the end. Very unorthodox. I don't know how that hole's in there. It might have been for a fountain project I was doing, I think, years ago. Right, let me put that back on. Sorry. Right, we'll do it again. Prime up. Scroll across. No leak from there now. There's no hole in the cap. More air coming out. Longer than I thought. 110 metres of tubing to fill with water. Unless we've got a gaping hole pouring out on the slab, we'll back and have a look in a sec. I'm confident though. Come on, because we could actually fire it up and actually get it warm, test it properly actually. Nothing to stop this from booting. Here it comes. Thank you. Okay, we are primed. Sure are. Right, that elbow to the flow and we're off. although we could do with just putting the end cap on this now and then operating the pressure. So off, end cap on, leave it pressurised up, and then go and inspect the slab. Okay, even if we're not plumbing engineers, and we're not, there's one thing we can't escape from, that's the fact once the concrete's poured, your tubes are in. So what you don't want is a leak. All this can be modified, we can get a specialist advice, we can change it how we want, but as I said, it works. But what we don't want to do is have that pipe network that I've just laid leaking. So before we connect into the system, cap the end of that off and activate the water and go outside and have a look. That's what we're going to do. Let's go and inspect it now. Okay, so we do have elbows to get us out of the garage. It was the only way to do it, because otherwise I'd have had a big ramp here, and this is going to be a walkway between the garage and the new garage. It involved having elbows here, which aren't the best for flow, but there's only 2 sets, the rest is a smooth run, and then 2 joins here where we actually connect into the system. Again, there was no way around that. You couldn't have that pipe continuously going and then work it all the way through. You had to hook up at some point, so there we are. And because there's no other joins, we just look for any nicks in the pipe, and I can't see anything, so we're good there. Having a look, but I can't see out. There's nout taken out. Okay, so I'm now going to let it go warm. We're going to test it out. Right, so we're going to hook in to the manifold now with an elbow. We'll have to release a little bit of pressure because these are tricky to get off when they're pressurised up. So a little bit of pressure, elbow on, then switch the boiler on, it should go. Just releasing the pressure with a little bleed valve there at the end of the distribution manifold, so that can pop the end cap off. Because when, as I say, when John gets fittings pressurised, they're tricky to remove. So let's let that drain down. Okay, I'm on with an elbow and repressurised, but we're going to have to take the air out of the system now because I'll have introduced a little bit. So we've got to just bleed that off when we're ready, but we can fire it up. We need to open this valve. This has always been closed because it was a spare, never used, so you can put electronic solenoid on here, or you can just leave them set how you want. Your flow indicators are down here, so many litres per minute. I'll just put it at about 2 litres a minute. So I'm going to open that with a little mini spanner so it's ready, and when we switch on the heating, the pump will kick in and it should start to heat up. Going for it now. Got pressure there. Right, we're off, and that's because my gas was off not long ago. It just needs to purge. It'll go. We're on. We've got a flame. You can't see it, but I can. Temperature will start to climb in the system very slowly. Very crude, I know. Okay, temperature's climbing, and now we'll feel warmth in the pipes. Our supply pipe hot. Have we got flow going through there? I've got to look for the little flow gauge, but it's quite misted up in the chamber, in the glass chamber. But I think the flow indicator is down. That one's easy to read. That's the original garage floor. This one is a bit grubby, but it looks like it's down. It is. The pipe is warm. Our supply pipe to the garage, to the new garage floor, is now hot. Obviously it's going to be cold coming back, but it should warm up coming back because there's no concrete, so that'll just quickly come back on. With a check valve to fit as well. I've pressurised the system up, but the system is totally separate from domestic water. You cannot mix the 2 systems, they're totally isolated. You prime and set this up with its water, and then it is locked. and you have a check valve. I need to fit that check valve. Check valve needs to go there. Must have the check valve in. No water must go backwards into the system, because if you had a water supply cut and then you use another tap, it can draw water back out of this system into the domestic supply. A big no-no. So that's one thing you have got to be aware of. A wet water underfloor heating system is not connected to the mains supply, I think, or at least it has a check valve on it. See, the thing is, I'm making a video for something which I'm not an expert in, so I'm going to attract, there's going to be plumbers who are fans, and they're going to be thinking, shit, what are you doing? Let me know and give me some guidance. But I can only go off experience that it works, and my caveat is that I'm not putting anything at risk. Boiler was corky checked. If I'm separate from the water feed, then I can't see any risk. If the gas is checked and the boiler's alright, then all I've got is a closed circuit plumbing system. If it leaks, it's down to me. I'm not going to harm anyone. So that's how it's at. There's no high pressures involved, dangers of explosions or anything like that. So otherwise I wouldn't mess with something. If it's electricity, I mean, you can see the quality of this electricity. Everything's done properly. That's the solar system. Okay, so I don't mess around, but I do agree, I am learning with this. I'm gonna make a guess and say that you have a check valve there and a pressure reducer valve that limits the amount of pressure that allows to get into the underfloor heating system to prime it up. I would say that it works purely off the pump's own force or pressure. There is no pressure to it, 0 bar, I would say, and it just swills the water around. That's what I think. But my combi boiler does require a certain amount of line pressure to fire up, otherwise the safety thing won't cut in. That's red marker there. It's got a pressure cutout valve. So my underfloor heating system has a certain amount of pressure in it. Now I need to check to see how that's done. I'm going to do some online research. It's interesting. I like learning, and I've never had a problem with the garage over 10 years with this as it is now. So by adding just one more circuit, I can't see that I've changed anything. But I'm going to take expert advice, and there could be room to improve this, neaten it up and improve it all. But for the moment, we can pour the concrete now in confidence that there's no leaks. Of course, we'll pressure test overnight. Here's our gauge, so that should stay locked on 3.5 bar overnight, because that's directly linked to the underfloor heating pressure. Okay, let's go outside and feel the pipes. They should be warm, and then we're done till the concrete pour. Patreons, good news, it's working exactly as it should. Warm, cool, warm, sorry, cool, cool, warm, cool, warm, and then in you go. So it works even heat distribution with that pattern that you have. So I'm pleased that I've done it all good. I'll just keep going around and just double checking, but I'm very happy. So my heated floor is actually working. The calm before the concrete storm. Just waiting for them concrete boys to roll into town. It's a Saturday and we're waiting. Any minute now, keeping my voice down, under cover. The concrete, the slab will be down. Them Barra boys will be here soon. Let's get the camera rigged up. I'll see some concrete going in very shortly. I'm waiting and listening out for that wagon. Exciting times as the slab goes down. And we've been busy tidying everything up and getting Cortina parts boxed, which has been fun, so we've been doing loads. But let's just wait now for that concrete. Could this be it? No, it's not. Any minute. just doing my Patreon time capsule while we wait for that concrete to roll into town. So everybody on, there's 50 of you now, so it's a double celebration really. Concrete goes in and we get 50 patrons. So I write you all out now, and we're going to go in to our Kenko time capsule, into the concrete with some coins and some memorabilia. We'll pop you in the time capsule, Patreons. Thanks for your support. It's your garage too. So off we go. You're going under the concrete. Hope you've been naughty, putting you under the concrete. No, you've all been good. But it's a lot of concrete. About 100 barrelfuls, I think. 28 square meters cube. No, 28 meters squared. I'm not sure the cube. About 6 cube, something like that. 6 cube. We'll do the maths. In the meantime, let me write you all out. Thank you very much. Down the list, if you've not been written yet, I'm not forgetting you. I go all the way down. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're all written out. I'm gonna put some coins. A bottle top, there's a picture of the car going in. But I'm gonna give you a roll call, the garage roll call. So Timu Vartienen, the Aylesbury cyclist, Alexandra Bowker, Andrew Lander, Andrew Livesley, Andrew Murphy, Charlie Walker, Andrew Walker, Chris Barker, Chris Gale, Colin Osborne, Colin Jones, Connor Lukeman, David Carey, David Greenfield, Eric Jacobson, Gareth Potter, Gary Knight, Gary Sanderson, Jerry Hart, Peter Emblem, Taxi Pete, the Aylesbury cyclist, Howard Luscombe, Ian Black, Ian Ellis, Ian Gorse, James Robinson, Janet Wall, John Aspinall, Keith Norman, Lee Holmes, Lee S. Holmes, Lee Wallace, Mark Ashmore, Mark Edwards, Mark O'Connor, Michael Egan, Mike Davies, Morris McAllister, Mr. Glenn Lappage, Paul Brown, Paul Mullerine, Pete Ashworth, Simone Smith, Shane Watson, Simon Thackeray, Phil Rogers, Philip Bruce Simmons, Richard Dorset, Rob Dixon, Rob Lamacroft, I think I said Timu Vartienen, and I think that covers you all. Please apologise if I've missed anyone off. I think I've got you all on the list there. If I have missed you off, you'll go in again on another entry, but I'll double check this. I don't want to miss anyone, so thanks. And into the time capsule you'll go. On an envelope there, we put stuff inside that too. Just one of the little things I like. Time capsules are always exciting when I was a kid, so wow, into the concrete for our Patreon time capsule going into Bramble's garage floor slab. Pouring the concrete any minute now. Into the tin goes the time capsule. Sorry, into the time capsule tin goes the list. Knows when they'll find that. We'll be long gone by then. Hey! We'll be long gone by then. when things get really bad, Les, we dig that up. There's a £2, £3. There's about £4 in it, mate. Again, like this. Well, that's the floor, nicely diamond scrubbed to give us a good key for the paint. The floor's now beginning to have its first temperature check with the boiler that we've been doing, but you're on a bit of a time warp because there's quite a gap between that last little clip there, because we are now in the garage and have built it. Only took a morning to do, and just in time as well, because we got some rain coming in, so we just about did it in time. So we're just testing the heated floor now to slowly increase the temperature. Just coming to the end of the day, 6 o'clock, it's getting dark already. So garage is up, guys, in Patreon land. We've got the door to fit. This isn't the door that I'm using. I've not fitted this, I've sold this. I bought myself a better door, a sectional one that's highly insulated. Autumn's definitely here. We now have our migrating geese back in stock. They always come every year to the warmer climate. Canada geese, hooper swans, and a few other pink-footed geese as well like to come in every September and October. So, wow. We've got a garage, just a pedestrian door here, and a sectional electric up and over to the linear headspace. I think it's going to be fine for doing the car. So the rest of the video for the build will conclude when I've done the electrics. Okay, going to get some paint down. We've got a 2-pack epoxy paint system here, just showing you. This is done from Resincoat. Very good paint. Sets like rock and covers up. Our floor is very nice and level anyway. You'll see that the polishing machines or the grinding machine, concrete grinders, just takes off the rough residue that floats to the surface when you do a slab, and just gets it back to a nice key for the paint. That's important if you want your paint to adhere properly. Get a good key and get it dry, and also you've got to prime it. So I've got some, again, 2-pack primer system, which is what they call damp-proof membrane paint, so it can withstand any residual dampness that's in the concrete, because they really recommend you wait a year to paint a concrete floor. Minimum 28 days, and it has to be dry. This is now bone dry because we've had 2 days of sunshine. It's now raining, first time in 2 days, so I don't know if it's going to get in through these doors, because the doors won't be on for another week or two. So we are going to paint the floor without the doors on, if the weather permits. I'm certainly going to get the primer on. We cannot put anything to do with oil or contaminants in here till it's primed, otherwise you'll never get the paint to stick. Definitely got some storms coming in. Garage then, stepping back. Buenos dias, Matti, ce faci?
Just working one. Like usually.
This is going to be warmer than warm McWarm. In Romania, I don't know how warm you want to be.
It's hot now, but in winter minus 20, 25.
So we get the nice Celotex on first. You got Kingspan or Celotex. Oh yeah! Oh, it's going to be warm.
Yep.
We've got a stud out. Got the Celotex up. We're working hard on the garage now. The garage floor is getting warm too. Alex is going to be cooking. He's going to be frying an egg on this floor, boy! Most of the Kingspan, or in this case Celotex, is in, Jim. So it's going to keep us warm. We go over with some foil tape as well, just to close the gaps. Extra draft proof, and just, this is just tacked up really with no nails, because the studding that's going to be going up is going to keep it in place anyway, but it's tacked up with no nails. And then we pre-drill our joist bands here ready to fix to the floor. We left a gap round where the heated floor is, so we could put fixings in around the perimeter, so we're okay for tubes, but we do double check the photograph of the heated floor layout. Mustn't forget to put a damp proof membrane down underneath the studding just in case. We'll trim that later because we'll be painting the floor. Floor's been on today, so my feet are warm as I'm walking around. Rest of our timber's just there. Our 2-pack floor paint ready when all this work's done. So we're going to be studding out, running electrical cables through for plenty of sockets, and then making some trim pieces to fit in around the windows. The roof's got to be studded out. We've got some tech type screws that go through the wood then into the metal, self drilling holes on the end of the screws. You know the type. That's it for today. We carry on tomorrow. We'll try and get this finished. The door is on order, so we're going to be all done with no door. That's because I chose brown, and you have to order it in advance, even though I did order it in advance. Never mind. Okay, we'll see what tomorrow brings. That's a day fitting the Celotex and planning out for the studding. Next day, please. Oh, sorry about the time warp as well from them laying the floor, then all of a sudden the garage was up. They didn't want me to film. I've no idea why they didn't want me to film building the garage. So we got like a 10-second clip. I've got some footage with the one of the security cameras, so we'll use that. Okay. What is he?
4 meters. The
first one,
man. Look. Oh! I hit the voice. Oh, he hit me with his leg. Oh!
They're crazy, these Romanians, aren't they?
4 meters. This one, Paul. Yeah.
Another one of him.
There you go. It's on Facebook now. It's on Facebook.
Bună dimineața!
Bună dimineața, no Brexit queen, please! Thank you for life.
Guys, girls, just a couple of days on this. Looking good. Ceiling board up. OSB board they call it. Up it goes. And it's a nice finish on the board. You can paint if you want, but we're going to be doing a lot of grinding and welding, so maybe we'll paint all this garage and tidy it all up when the bramble shell's done. But for now we'll stick with just this raw finish. Some cables to carry on routing there for the ring main. Consumer unit just going in at the top. Okay, so nicely insulated as well. You could have even done more insulation if you wanted, but this Celotex is great. And we're all draft proofed as well, so we do lose a bit of internal space with this studding out, but I don't mind that. Could, if you want, even put more insulation between these boards, between these noggins, uprights, whatever you want to call them. Just going around the window in there with the rest of the board cuts. Some LED strip battens. I've got them horizontally at the moment, but we can always flip them vertically if we want. I'll see how that light looks. I can always flip them. Not quite sure which way to put the LED strip battens. 6 going in on the roof as well when we finish that. We start the roof there, tech screw into the metal beams. Luckily the roof spars are spaced the same as the size of the sheet, which is 220, 2 meters 20. So that fits nicely along the width of these, so we can get good fixings on the roof. Will be nice and solid. We'll still put these struts, whatever you want to call them, across. We tech screw those up, and then again more insulation in the roof. I'm going to foam this down or glue this down so it doesn't, just in case you get any drafts, but I doubt you will. But I don't want the fact that moves. I'm going to attach it to the beams with just spray foam. We just get the spray foam can and just drop it into there, and it'll just expand out and grab it. It stops things rattling. Okay, so I'll just do a bit of a clean up at the end of the day. I'll vac all these shavings up, and that's it for today. We'll catch you next week. This is a Saturday, Sunday day off. Clean up now for me, and then this garage build video continues. Waiting for the front door, roller shutter of course, sectional door. Already warm, my feet are nice and warm, said that just earlier. So you're actually working in warmth, everything feels good. So I'm happy so far, we're going good. Guys and girls, we are going good. Clean up now, see you Monday. Okay, pull it in, and boom. And now I speak. Pull him and boom. Wait. Okay, we're looking good. We've got the boys in, we're carrying on going. Everything level, everything straight, everything evenly spaced, so I can sleep at night. I'm working for the immigration department.
I've just come from Wagon. Fresh off the banana boat. Lovely.
Loving it. You know it makes sense.
I can be everywhere.
Doesn't matter. Him in the corner we have to worry about.
Every fucking every measure. Yeah? Okay.
Check out the video in this hotel. What's next level? And you'll be there all inclusive. So you know, the best thing about all inclusive. No worries, it's fine.
So watch that music, I'm going to talk over it. YouTube don't pick me up, YouTube don't pick me up. Help, cracking up. Doing the insulation now, finishing off, just show you where I am, talking over the music. Doors in, just doing that insulation run on that top of the top front of that. Okay, then we're nearly done. We've got some bit of boarding just to finish down, trim up the front of the door. We're nearly done. The roller shutter's now in. Boys, we've worked fast today. Roller shutter in, let's keep going. And now you're famous, now you're on the television, now you're on TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I don't know why I talk like that when I just talk normally.
Good.
Bună dimineața.
Bună dimineața. Opa, lovely.
Che pace?
Like it?
Like it.
It's too high different.
Hey,
Nice.
boom, boom, boom.
Curly hair, you'll be drunk. Oh, fuck off. Look at this shit. Don't remove your things.
We'll tell you, tell us the story, I'll turn the camera off. Hold on. Been a long day today, been flat out. So some tread plate gone on in aluminium just to give it a bit more brightness and reflect some light back onto some of the working surfaces and give it a bit of a car feel. So that's a nice little touch. Just bonded on using Tretter bond and then all earthed through the sockets as well. And linked together. So we've got a removable panel in the corner for conduits, cables, alarms, internet wiring, stuff like that. That's a separate panel that comes off, so the aluminium's been cut for that. Most of these were full sheets. I think there's only had to do 2 cuts using the slitting disc. So that's good. The up and over door is now up and over running. I shall now grab the remote, give you a demo of the up and over door because all the power is now on. So we press and off we go. And that's that. Too posh really for a rough workshop. Totally sealed though, it's a sectional door with insulation and with an airtight seal all round, even on the gap, so don't always get that effectiveness with a roller shutter. Okay, so we get a really good airtight seal, slow close at the end, and you get the rubber seal just locks together and each panel interlocks. It's a Horman door, German made, little motor up at the top just into a fuse spur in the roof. LED lighting batten strips, 6 in the top, and then I think there's 6 around the walls. The wall ones really do help. I'll show you the difference with and without the wall lights on. You'll just see that you get a lot of reflected light dispersion, a lot better. So okay, well that would be workable. Let's take the camera up so you can get a better view. And the camera's showing it a bit brighter than I can see, but you hit that switch and you just get extra angle of light reflected back, so there's less shadowing and more even distribution. The batten strips just run on LED, the low power consumption. Our fuse board just there, in we go, or consumer unit. There we've got a fuse for the motor on the electric door, and then lighting and ring main. ring mains on a 16 amp ring. Hopefully that'll be okay. Thermostat control for the underfloor heating valve, and then there's some ducting in the floor spare just down there to pull in any extra cables from the garage next door. So that's good. We're nearly done. These tools will be shipping out soon. We've got to do some skirting board and then some floor painting. I've got a damp proof membrane down underneath all the boards, under the sterling board as well, just for extra. You never know, these concrete garages are not renowned for being totally watertight, although this is masticed and siliconed up. You can get water coming in under the only sectional, don't forget, so there's an argument to say tannalise the skirting board, but how far do you go, you know? Floor certainly works very well. My feet are warm as I'm walking around recording this and the heat rises up. You can switch it off, certainly in today's temperatures of 15-16 degrees, and it'll stay warm for a couple of days even after it's been turned off, so the heat stays in the slab. You saw the construction video of the foam underneath the slab, the kingspan, thick stuff. Forget how deep it was, but it was thick, beefy kingspan underneath this slab, and then on the outside of the slab it does have a supporting ring beam which goes right down to the earth to create the strength. No cracks in the concrete, and this was buffed off using a diamond spinning wheel machine, a kind of like one of those floor scrubbers, but with a diamond pad. I ran over this. I didn't actually film that day, but you'll see the little swirl marks in the floor. You might not pick them up unless you look really close, but there are swirl marks from the machine which took off the crust which you get that comes to the surface. Even though they tamp it and they smoothed off the concrete, it left a crust of chemicals that leach to the surface, and the diamond scrubbing machine takes that off and gives a great key for the paint, which is a 2-pack epoxy. Here it is. It's made by Resincoat and it's top quality stuff. It's a hardener goes in the tub. You use a spinning little whisk, one of these, which they supplied with the kit actually, paint whisk type thing. You get a full kit of 30 metres squared supplied from Resincoat. You have to apply for the price. I got it on a 50% discount day, but that offer might still be on. It's worth checking out on Resincoat. I think it's .co.uk. Mine's mid-grey colour. It'll be going down soon. Didn't know whether to paint now and skirting board later, or skirting board now and paint later. You could say that paint's going to hit the edge of the skirting board. It's a tricky one now. And a few little trim pieces as well as the paint. Just at the top of this alley trim, I'd like to just put a trim strip on it, and basically architrave or skirting board over that. I just think it'd be better. It was blob fixed, not completely covered or coated in the Treadplate or the grip fill. It was blobs, 1, 2, I don't know how many, each one 20 blobs of fixant, sealant, grip fill, and then push the board and it spreads out. You do get a bit of flex, and also we're not building a house here. I mean, you've got a little contour in. Look, you can see I can push in there if I wanted to. Well, we can fill that with some caulk. We're going to paint the sterling board white. But what's happened was, as I've been doing this, is it's like anything. You start off doing one neat job, then the whole lot's got to be. Originally, it was just going to be a rough old concrete prefab, rough, tidy. Well, I say rough, you know, tidy, but not going to this level. And it's progressed to improve the quality, but it's increased the cost and the time aspect, and then the level of detail to how you go. So I've mentioned that because of the trim here I was talking about. You know, it's more higher level. Could have put screws in this. No reason why you couldn't have fixed that with loads of screws as well. But it's actually on the floor. There was a slight level as well difference. At this end, the board's slightly higher by about 4mm, as the concrete slab must slightly slope down, but only in this patch here, and it goes back in again. So that must just be the way that they built the slab. I mean, you can only get it so far before you start talking about concrete polishing and self-leveling and all that. It's a good slab. I think you can see from the filming that it looks good. Wait till it's painted. You know, it's going to be good then. The boards can't move anyway because they're fixed with the screws for the sockets. They're not going to go anywhere. So it's just whether or not you trim them, you know, because you can see that movement. I can move that annoys me. I'd like it to be fixed solid, but that's because we blobbed and then pushed on, and you'd have to put seams all the way around. How far do you go? But that's solid, you know. It's good stuff. It'll wipe down any sparks from the angle grinder, of course. Just going to bounce off and be easy to clean. Even if you got overspray on it, you could wipe that off with thinners. So it's a good little trim finish, and it looks quite car related, always does. I think when we paint the sterling board white and do the floor, it's going to look smart. Don't forget though that it's going to get really messed up in here when we're angle grinding and stuff with the car and welding. But I'll try and keep it as tidy as I can. You see these restoration videos where they're in these clean workshops, but they're doing so much body work and you wonder how it all stays clean. Well, this will be a good test to see if we can do the same and keep it nice and clean. I've got to call it a day now. This is a walk around video for Patreon. Appreciate your support. As you know, I always appreciate this Patreon feedback and support. Getting tired, as I'm into 15 hours today, so my voice is starting to go. I need to grab myself some food, and I'll edit up some pictures for you tonight. It's a Thursday. I think we're in the first week of October. Don't know the date today. Tired. Gotta get going. But videos like this, they're going to be coming on the car. I'll be back with my narration and welding and everything else more in detail. There's been a long gap. It's been a long road just to get here. And the videos will be back in the old style where I've got the camera and we're talking you through heater box rebuilds, all that kind of stuff. Okay, over now on this little section. Garage nearly done. We'll do one more clip when it's all painted. Then I'll upload this as a complete video from start to finish. We've not got everything on it, but I've got most of the build captured. Bit of fun along the way as well. So garage build nearly done. We've got a door, by the way, here, waiting for that. PVC door to go in, door and frame. That's on order. We wanted to just wait till we knew exactly how everything was going to lay. So there you go. There's our completed structure. You see the sterling board up on the roof, all insulated behind that as well, and foam sprayed where we could see any gaps. So there you go. Over now for this little section. Okay, just getting ready on the front for some block paving, and I'm now vacked out inside here. Brushed, cleaned, vacked out, the A to H. Walls painted, the A to H. So we're getting cleaner all the time, guys and girls. Just need to get this two-part primer on first. So it's mixed one tin into the other. Little whisk at the end. And then we're going to roll it down. Start from that corner. I've got a mask here if the fumes seem to be a problem. Okay, so we are now going to start priming the floor with damp-proof membrane primer. Resincoat supply the goods, and that's what we're using. Here we go. Okay, we're in and we're quick. With no door yet. We've got a roller shutter door, but with no main door. I'll say main door, no pedestrian door, but we've got paint down. Just saw it getting built. We've been on since the beginning. We studied out, we wired, lights. I told those builders that the white glue won't stick to chipboard, and I was right. I just flaked my architrave straight off. They've got to be done. I told them it won't work. They wouldn't listen. Trust me, they said, trust me. No, I trust you. No, that won't stick. Architraves will fall off. Here we are. Now, this is 2 coats of the resin. It's thick stuff, but it still won't cover the swirl marks which I put in when I use a concrete polisher. I kind of regret keying it with that concrete polisher now. You saw them tamping the concrete with a vibrating leveling machine, but it left a crud like lime scale and very powdery finish, even though it was smooth. It wasn't, it was dusty. You could rub it and get dust on it. I wanted to just key it better. But I probably was a bit aggressive with the diamond scrubber and leaving swirl marks in. If you carried on painting, they'd probably go. However, it's okay, and we'll have to live with the swirl marks in the floor. So that's the grey resin coat down, and that's really the garage almost done. It wants the skirting board down here. There's an inspection hatch in the far end where I pull cables through. There's the electric door. I think I've demoed this. I'm not going to open it now because it's blustery outside and leaves are coming in. So I've not painted the very last bit where I'm standing. I've still got a little mini tub of paint left, and I'm just going to do underneath the door last. And we've got some block paving going down here at the front. A nice ramp's getting built. So I'll paint that little bit there once all that's done. So I've done the bulk of the painting, got it out of the way. It cures in about a day. It's tough stuff. Underfloor heat is warm as anything in here. It's like the tropics. Really great. So that concludes it. I'm going to wrap the video here. I'll do some photos of it when it's totally finished, but to get you some footage, and we're into probably an hour now on this garage build clip. So I'll end here, and I'll say bye for now, and then we'll see you when the car rolls into town. You'll see the skirting board will have gone down by then, and where I'm standing will be a PVC pedestrian door, and the block paving will be done. But I'll do that as videos, as still shots, okay? So you saw the garage build. Now we're done, warm and bright. See you soon on Patreon. Mk3 Cortina City signing out, and yeah, we'll get the right glue on there. That was not my idea for my lovely architraves around the windows. Okay,